Hello, it's August 10th and welcome to the Piney News. I do apologize for being about 10 days late. Unfortunately, around the beginning of this month I had a bad case of food poisoning. I'm not going to get into details, but it wasn't pleasant. But anyway, welcome to the Piney News. It's August 10th and we have some breaking news for you. We have some brush fires. They're mostly under control now out in Westhampton in the Dwarf Pine Plains in the northwest quadrant. This is basically very close to the intersection of Route 27 Sunrise Highway and Route 31 Old Riverhead Road. No buildings were damaged in this fire, and they contained it to a small area from what I could see on the News 12 footage. However, once again, I think we're making a mistake by sending all these firefighters in here. You can see them driving their trucks through the woods, damaging the woods, trying to put this fire out. But we all know that the Dwarf Pine Plains, especially the Dwarf Pine Plains, need fire to survive. They need fire to thrive. Fires in the Dwarf Pine Plains are supposed to occur every 2 to 5 years at the minimum. And by not letting this fire burn, it interrupts the natural cycle of the pine barrens, and we still haven't learned our lesson yet. When I put on the news and I see all these fire departments, like 5 or 6 fire departments fighting this fire, it's in the middle of the pine barrens. There's no reason to try to put it out. There's not really any buildings nearby. There's one building nearby. They could have just protected that. They didn't have to go into the woods and put a whole fire out, because what the fire is going to do is the fire is going to kill off any invasive plants. It's going to kill off any pine beetles, southern pine beetles, and the dwarf pines in particular are very adapted to fire, and they will resprout fairly quickly after a fire. And a lot of the cones on dwarf pines, a lot of them, the large majority of them are serotinous cones, meaning they're closed. They're only going to open in the heat of a fire for new seeds to sprout and grow some new pitch pines. So I think by going in there and interrupting the natural cycle of the pine barrens is a huge mistake. The news paints it as a horrible thing. A fire in the pine barrens, it's horrible, but it's not horrible. It's good. It's good. This is what the pine barrens are supposed to do. The news just doesn't get it. So that's why, again, I don't think we should be spending so much money on putting these fires out, especially if they're in the middle of the woods. Let them burn, because this is what the pine barrens, this is part of the pine barrens ecosystem. We can't be going in there and interrupting it. All right? There was another small fire in North Bellport, near Brookhaven Avenue or something like that. I don't know the exact location. It's been very dry. We have a rainfall deficit in parts of Long Island. I would say parts of Long Island, particularly in the southern half. And we will get rain, a lot of rain, actually, tomorrow with some heavy downpours and stuff. And that leads me to my next story. There have been some storms last week. I just want to bring this up. I didn't film them because they didn't really hit my area. They hit more of the North Shore of Suffolk County. But they knocked out power to approximately 83,000 people, these storms. Basically from Kings Park, you figure along the Port Jefferson line, Kings Park, Smithtown, St. James, Stony Brook, Port Jefferson, and then east of there into Shoreham and Rocky Point, Mill Place a little bit, and Wading River. There was storm damage from a strong thunderstorm that moved through Tuesday morning that is a derecho type storm. Nobody's used that word yet. I think it is, so, because it lasted went all the way from this area all the way out to New England. The storm held together, and it created wind gusts 70 miles an hour, down trees down everywhere. Power was out, and entire towns were blacked out. In fact, Stony Brook University lost power as a result of a main transmission line, 67 kV transmission line that was faulted by a downed tree by the university. So that caused a lot of power outages, a lot of headaches. However, this was the first big test for PSCG Long Island. I have to say they got most of the power back. I think they got everybody back within 3 days, which was, I think, very good. So, hopefully, when the really big widespread storm hits, that was a pretty widespread storm, but I like their response. It was pretty quick, definitely better than LIPA. So that's some good news there. We have, I touched on the beetles, I think, a little bit, maybe the last time, but they've been found in the Dwarf Pine Plains. And that's exactly why we shouldn't be putting out the fire, as I said before. Now we need New York State to fund. We need the governor, of course, our wonderful governor, needs to get involved and fund. You know how much he hates Long Island. So we got to fight, though, right? We got to fight. You know. Speaking of other corrupt politicians, Ed Mangano is now being investigated. This just happened today. Ed Mangano is being investigated now for getting getting vacations paid for by a restaurant caterer who also happens to have contracts with the county and the town of Oyster Bay. So there's a whole thing. You know, read the articles below. Ed Mangano is a very corrupt man. This man needs to be in jail for what he's done to the bus system. I mean, look at the bus system. Well, breakdown. You know, we got those foothill buses. They are finished already. They're dropping like flies. They overheat. They're slow. They came to us in good shape. Now we destroyed them. I don't know. These buses seem to be bearing the brunt of nice buses abuse. And there's always something wrong with them. Every time I ride them, there's always something wrong. Last time I was on one, the engine alarm was going off, and we thought we were gonna. And the bus was overheating, and the driver kept going. Because he didn't want to break down. But he should have turned off the air conditioner at least. And that's the other thing. Many buses don't even have air conditioning. I've seen a lot of, especially the older buses, I see them with windows open. So a lot of our buses are just dropping like flies due to the poor maintenance. Now, NICE keeps saying, we're getting new buses this fall, new Flyer Excelsior buses. But they're going to break down too, man. It's the maintenance, don't you see? This company doesn't know how to maintain the buses. They don't know how to keep them on the road. All the good mechanics left because they don't want to pay their mechanics a good amount of money. I mean, some of the mechanics, from what I've been told by bus drivers, some of the mechanics, they don't even have driver's licenses, which means that some of these mechanics may not even be in the country legally, which wouldn't surprise me when you see how poorly maintained these buses are, all right? Somebody asked me a while ago, I was thinking about replying to their comment, but I'll answer it in the Pine News. Do you think, would you support NICE if they did a better job, or if you gave them more money? Here's the thing, all right? NICE has shown to be irresponsible with the money they've been getting, all right? I don't think they've been completely fair with the service they provided. I definitely think the maintenance should definitely be better. If somehow I became the county executive or whatever, I would probably tell NICE, I would give them 1 year. I would give them more money. I'd give them 1 year to get their act together. And I say, that's it. If there's still breakdowns, you're out and MTA is back. That's it. And I bet there will still be breakdowns. Because these people don't know, they don't know how to run this is their biggest bus system in the whole country is NICE, all right? They don't know what they're doing. They're not experienced, they can't handle it. We need the MTA back. Unfortunately, as long as Ed Mangano and Andrew Cuomo are still sitting in their places, that's not gonna happen. They have a vested, corrupt interest in keeping NICE bus around and making us miserable as a result. These two people, Andrew Cuomo and Mangano, need to be behind bars. They're criminals. I wish Preet Bharara, the federal prosecutor, would really lock these people up like he's going after some of these other people. They're corrupt. They're ruining people's lives in New York. Something's got to be done about it. And speaking of corruption, there's just one more thing I want to talk about. I know this won't be too long of a Piney News, but the Long Island Railroad keeps neglecting the main line. They spend so much money fixing up Massapequa Station, and I was there. It was a beautiful, nice, brand new station. But yet Mineola is much, much busier, and the platform holes, I was there today, they're still there. I've reported to the Long Island Railroad, just watch. And here's my special report from the Mineola train station on August 10th. And you can see that they still haven't fixed this yet. I'll show you we've complained to the railroad, we've posted on their Facebook, they don't give a shit.
Ladies and gentlemen, 6:27 p.m.
One of the busiest stations on the Long Island Railroad. Look at that, I don't give a crap. Look at this one, huh? Put the camera in it. Yep. That's the way we get treated in Central Nassau. So as you can see, a busy station, and yet they still won't fix all these holes. Yet Massapequa gets a brand new station. Why? Because Massapequa is wealthier, right? You know, it's not just, I mean, Huntington Line gets treated like crap. I'll be honest, somebody else noticed this too. You know, the main line has more riders. The trains are more crowded than the Babylon branch, and the main line gets neglected. The main line needs the same level of service, if not more, than the Babylon branch. But the Babylon branch gets better service because they're rich. I also think it has to do with the, you know, I don't like throwing that race card out there, but I think because the South Shore is mostly white, I think they get preferential treatment. And also, it is a stronghold of former State Senator Dean Skelos, who is now indicted and under arrest, but still, he has a lot of power in that area, and that whole South Shore Nassau area has a lot of political clout with the state, and that's how they get their way with the trains while we get neglected. This crap has got to stop, Long Island Railroad. We all pay our train fare, no matter where we are. We deserve, all riders should be treated equally. It's called public transportation, and when it's a public entity and public transportation, riders deserve to be treated equally, all right? No matter whether you're taking the train in Wantagh, Belmore, or you're taking the train from Westbury or Mineola or Hicksville or Huntington, everybody needs to be treated equally and fairly. And right now, you folks at the Long Island Railroad are not doing that. You folks at the MTA are not doing that. This needs to change. We have enough problems with NICE. We don't need you guys messing up with our stations and our service as well, all right? I've talked about it before. We've got to improve the main line because the South Shore, in the long term, due to climate change, is going to be a more disruptive place because of flooding and because of water damage as sea levels rise and more storms form. But apparently that common sense is not translating over to the MTA. The last bit I want to talk to you about is New Jersey. Of course, you know New Jersey Transit passed the fare hikes and the service cuts. The resultants, you know, people getting stranded, you know. Governor is nowhere, Chris Christie's nowhere to be found. He's too busy running for president than to have his fat ass running the state right now. He has been a lousy governor, and some of my friends will point out, well, the previous administration was terrible. Yes, but so is Christie's. New Jersey, I feel for you. You have a governor that is completely lost now, completely lost. I'm telling you, Mr. Christie, you should be big and tough, but I'm not afraid of you. All right, you need to step down and you need to resign. You're just as corrupt as Andrew Cuomo and Ed Mangano, and all of you should be sharing a jail cell as far as I'm concerned. The amount of people you screwed. Anyway, folks, I want to thank you for watching this Piney News. Take it easy, and I look forward to the fall when it's a little cooler. I'm sure we all do. Take it easy.